Hey guys, Cam for 15 back at it with another video for you guys. Back with another episode review of a Jack of all trades, party of none episode review for you guys. Apologies for being late on this review, but work and I wanted to enjoy my 3-day weekend that I'm gonna be getting. Anyways, this episode basically is a resolution to this arc that Orhun is going through now being alone, and we get it at the end where Orhun obviously now joins the Silver Rabbits Guild or basically the Rabbits Guild joining Selma and uh uh Sophia and everybody, right? So it's great. It's a nice full circle thing. And honestly, I actually kind of thought what they were gonna go with this episode was they're gonna go with the approach like he's not going to join the guild and he's just gonna turn them down even after listening to his mentor and saying like, maybe gives people a chance. But I thought like they were gonna go the solo route and he's just gonna do his own thing and then I don't know, but the Rabbits Guild members will just be around him and everything. But no, he actually joins the Rabbits and he actually goes to a place where they actually want him for his own talents and his own skills. So I thought that was pretty cool, right? But anyways, essentially the episode starts off with the heroes party basically showing up at the area and seeing the people that were transported out of the dungeon right there. But then they see the remains of the black dragon and they see its head. And basically they see, Orhun's there and they're like, wait, don't tell me he's the one that defeated them all, because they look at the Rabbits Guild members in the class and they're like, whoa, none of the other teachers or the class or the other students are like they're like damaged or roughed up. It's only Orhun who's like roughed up and in pretty bad shape. And they're just like, wait, he did this? Oh, great. Now, blue hair girl, I think her name's Luna again. So apologies for not having these characters' names down. But basically, Luna goes up to Orhun and is like, Orhun, are you okay? Like, look, let me help you. Like, let me heal you up and everything. And he's like, no, I don't need it. He's like, look, you take care of basically the remains. Basically saying like, hey, I need you guys to do this for me. And he basically walks off, right? Um, doesn't say anything to anybody. And also to, or, none of the Rabbits Guild members say anything. So essentially what happens is his best friend, right? He basically kind of just like, hey, what the heck did you do? And basically Orhun's just like, dude, I don't have time for this. Take care of the whole thing, right? Um, and see, this is where I figure like some of the members of the Heroes Party thought or didn't believe like, oh, he's the one that defeated the Black Dragon. But obviously the students were like, no, you're lying. He did defeat the Black Dragon and everything. And even Luna's like, he did defeat this thing. So, yeah. Anyways, because the whole stuff has been, resolved and everything, he goes back to his inn and obviously he's trying to rest up because he's definitely a lot hurt. He's hurting. He's definitely a lot more injured than he let on in the whole episode after leaving off, even though it looked like he walked off relatively fine. But there's that, right? So essentially kind of have two dynamics, right? You kind of have Selma's dynamic to where, she just feels like kind of inferior, I guess you can say. And I don't, my freaking game is turning on. Sorry. I was about to play Dragon Ball Kakarot. Anyways, Selma is basically kind of just in shock and awe, and well, not in awe, but she's kind of like it's actually depressing her from what Orhun did against the Black Dragon. She's basically like, what does that mean for me? Like, I'm not this good. I'm not this talented. Then, like, Orhun was able to do all this, fought up against the Black Dragon, and I just stood there and watched. Most importantly, I stood there in fear, and I knew I couldn't do anything against the Black Dragon. On top of it, when I did try to help, Orhun rejected my help. And she's basically kind of rethinking, like, am I like this great mage that a lot of people say I am? And she starts to doubt herself, right? But then you just have it to where Sophia, who was writing, down, who was writing down all this information and from everything that she learned from Orhun, right? Sophia basically tells her sister Selma, like, no, you're really strong in my eyes, and it doesn't matter. Like, yes, Orhun's strong, and I learned a lot from him, but I learned a lot from you too. Basically encouraging her and saying, like, she's also strong in her own rights, which actually gets her back on track, right? And this gets her the idea of like, all right, we need to bring this guy into the guild. Like, this could be a very valuable person for us. And it isn't from the fact like, no, we could use his power. It's just from the fact like, no, he's actually talented and we could absolutely have him in the guild. And it really goes to show you like, they would like to have him. So she ends up having a meeting with Orhun, right? And she basically asks Orhun like, hey, and she brings Orhun to meet the guild's master. So basically the guild master basically says it to him and gives him straight like, hey, we'd like you to join the Rabbits Guild. We acknowledge your strength. You're really strong, and they basically make a mention like he could be the party swordsman, right? Basically what he wanted to do. And Orhun's like in utter shock, and that's the whole thing, right? They want him in there because they actually value his strength, and they can actually tell like, no, this dude is legitimately strong. Like, we need to have him here, and he needs to be respected for what he's done, right? Because he defeated the Black Dragon and basically saved all the members and including the classes for the Rabbits Guild. So there's that. But anyways, he's like, okay, can I think about it? And they're like, yeah, take as much time as you need. We're not going to rush this whole decision. This is a very clearly big, important decision. So we want to make sure you take your time with this and select. Now, he does go to his mentor's house and he tells him, the mentor in the store about this and everything. He's like, so, and the dude's like, hey, I think that's a great opportunity. You should join them. And Orhun's like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I should. And essentially the reasoning why is because Orhun is afraid to be betrayed again. He's afraid to join another guild, and then after having great relationships with these people, next thing you know, they backstab him and turn and say, no, you're weak, bro. Get out of the fucking guild. But we clearly know, like, Selma and the other Rabbits Guild member clearly respect him on a higher enough level than his best friend and the other members of the heroes party, with the exception of Luna, his other childhood friend, right there, right? So it's like, no, clearly the Rabbits Guild member actually respect the fact that no, he actually is strong and everything. So he has time to think about it. Now, he also does actually have a meeting with the guild master of the main guild hall, right? Because basically they're doing a review over what had transpired, right? So essentially, it's the Heroes Party members in Orhun, and basically they're just congregating about what happened in the dungeon and what the hell happened with the Heroes Party. Now, obviously the guild master is like, so was it true that you're the one that defeated the Black Dragon? And Orhun's like, yes, it was me. I did that, right? So basically you just have it to where the other Heroes Party's members, they kind of just talk shit on him, saying you're fucking lying, there's no chance in hell you're able to defeat, you were able to defeat that thing, right? And even the best friend is talking down on him, saying like, I don't get you, you're gonna act all high and mighty and everything. And basically Orhun was like, bro, I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about. Like, I had to clean up your guys' mess, right? And he even tells them straight up, like, look, this situation never would have happened if you guys had just learned under each other, and got accustomed to each other, especially your new supporter, right? And because the best friend is basically spewing to Orhun, like, yeah, we got a new supporter, who buffs us and everything, and she's a lot stronger than you. And Orhun's like, yeah, okay, I probably can't deny she's probably stronger than me, but at the end of the day, you probably should have went to the lower dungeon levels, to get accustomed to each other's, battle strategies and see how each other work, how the party works, so then you guys can go to the lower floors and be able to do things, right? And Orhun's telling this guy's like, you guys stupidly decided, you thinking you guys could go down there, All you had to do is change me for another supporter, and you thought it was going to be seamless. No, that's a bold-faced lie, because guess what? And he started mentioning about how much time their buffs wear off, and he immediately gets off to them, and he tells each and every one of the member, like, I know when your buff ends, I know when your buff ends, I know when your buff ends, and things like that. So then I can already prepare in mind, okay, I need to rebuff you right there. And again, it's kind of like what Luna said a few episodes ago, like Orhun knows, their weaknesses and what he does to buff them and keep the buffs going for a long period of time. And I love this moment because he basically kind of shut his he shut his former party up. Well, really the members that hated him, right? Which is the one witch girl, the one muscular defender crusader guy, and then his best friend. I just love the fact how he just shut their asses up and said, bitch, please. You guys should have started off on the beginner level before you went down to like hard mode, but you guys decided to go hard mode and thinking you were going to come out of that unscathed. No, oh, how about this? I know when your buff ends, I know when your buff ends. I know and the exact moment when I know I need to rebuff you once that buff wears off. And he basically had them locked up right there, and there was nothing, a damn thing they could say outside of taunting him. So he basically gets up and he walks out of there, basically pissed off, like, no, you guess what? It's your fucking fault that you did this, and I basically cleaned up your freaking mess. So, whatever. Anyways, after Orhun leaves, the guild master basically, we don't know what punishment that he gave the heroes party, but I would have to imagine it's a fucking hefty punishment because they went into a dungeon without doing the proper precautions to prepare to go on the lower floors. On top of it, they endangered other people, including a whole guild and their classes and students, and potentially almost got them killed because just guess what? If not for Orhun, Selma and the others more than likely are probably all dead in the dungeon. And that would be something that's innocent blood on the heroes party's hands because they got too fucking cocky. So maybe we'll find out next week what was the punishment that they did receive. I hope it's like the whole thing is they get their titles fucking revoked, or they are suspended or something from doing quests or something like that, which would be funny as shit or something like that. Or maybe they just take away the title of the heroes party, or something like that, and they just don't recognize, and people just don't recognize them as heroes, which honestly is kind of more of an insult to injury right there, because it's like, now that people know, like, oh, you fucked up, you did this, and you call yourself heroes, man, please get the hell out of here, right? Because that's gonna be public, right? So I wonder where it's gonna go when we see the heroes party next time, or Orhun's friends. Are they gonna resent him even? Well, clearly they do resent him even more, but it's gonna be interesting to see how they go. We'll see. Will they go on a path of redemption? I can perfectly see it where they do go on a path of redemption at some point, but to be honest, I definitely do hope the worst for them going forward, with the exception of the green-haired girl that they just welcomed, and then Luna, the blue-haired girl. I don't think they deserve anything. They honestly, if I were them, I'd probably just leave and just be like, well, you guys are on your own. I'm done with this shit, right? So there's that, right? But we'll see. Will they learn their lesson? Who knows? I guess maybe based on the punishment, they may not, but they'll probably still be egotistical, because once Orhun did leave, his best friend still looked down on him like that. And it's like, dude, I'm like, clearly you have an inferiority complex where you think you're the strongest there is, and then Orhun actually got you beat there for a second, and it's like, oh, so maybe you're actually not the strongest dude, right? Maybe Orhun was clearly the strongest between you two. But anyways, you just have it to where Sophia and her group basically are trying to get Orhun to join the guild, and they come with the idea like, no, we can't have him leave. We want him to join the guild so he can teach us more, right? So they go to ask Selma, like, hey, do you know where Orhun's at? Because we want to ask him to join the guild, right? And this is also too when this is the part where I was talking about where Selma eventually it's like, no, okay, we actually do have to have him, blah 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 blah, right? So basically, and that's what encourages Selma to keep going and get the negative thoughts out of her head. So basically, Selma's like, okay, he was in a meeting with the guild hall, so he should be somewhere downtown. Now the thing is, what is it? The thing is, Orhun does see them and you can clearly tell, like, okay, I know why they're here. So you kind of get a chase scene where they're like, Orhun! And Orhun's running and everything away from them. And he tries to catch him by surprise. And he tries to do the simplest things. And again, he's barely getting away from them because he's actually still fairly injured from the fight with the Black Dragon and all the buffs he basically stacked on himself. Eventually, he gets back into the store owner's store, and the store owner's like, why are you running from them? Like, it's clear they want you to join the guild. And that's when Orion's like, I can't. I'm afraid of being betrayed. And two, I don't think it'd be best for them, right? I think they've learned everything I possibly can. Basically saying, like, they're not strong, but I want to be respectful to them and everything. But essentially what happens is Sophia ends up meeting up with Orhun at the one place her and her sister always meets up. And basically, she basically pleads with him like, hey, I want you to join the guild, the Silver Rabbits guild. And she basically tells him like, you taught me so much, in the dungeon, and I still want to learn more from you. Because I believe in you, and you're a really great teacher. So because of it, Orhun actually mulls it over. And then the next day, he actually approaches the guild, and he accepts the guild's offer to join the Silver Rabbits, right? And obviously, the guild master is happy, Selma's is happy, and then obviously he walks out with the coat of the guild, and obviously his three proteges are right there, and they're happy that he's joined the guild. So they'll still get to be with him and train with him. So it's gonna be nice. It's gonna be interesting to see where the next episode goes. Maybe he's gonna continue teaching them more. That's my best case. He's gonna continue teaching them and go into the dungeon and do things like that, and stuff like that. But we'll see. But overall, it was a really good episode. Nice resolution to this Black Dragon stuff. It is going to be interesting to see how the heroes party is going to be going from this part on, especially in their treatment towards Orhun. But I guess we'll find out as the show starts to progress. But anyways, if you guys like the video, leave a like, put in the comment section your thoughts, hit the subscribe button. If you want to get more Jack of all trades content or any other anime content I upload to the channel. But till then, guys, stay safe out there. Have a great rest of your day or your night or whenever you turn this video, and I will catch you guys later. Till then, guys, peace.